My first symptoms probably started long before I had any idea I had ALS. My first real problems where I was concerned probably happened in the winter of 2010 when I found myself struggling to swim. I swam quite a bit, my form of exercise, and we had a lap pool that in our home that I used, a current pool, and I realized in probably midwinter of 2010 I was starting to lose my capacity to sustain a long swim. We had our little conference with our neurologist the day after our 42nd wedding anniversary on November 22nd, 2011. At that time, we were given the diagnosis of ALS. We actually went in and had a sleep study test done at the end of January or end of February, and were prescribed the BiPAP machine to help us sleep. We got that, and we got the supplemental oxygen. Started using that about the middle of January. But just before that, I had a couple of the longest nights of my life where I just spent all night sitting up in a chair, just gasping and fighting for air all night long. Probably one of the first things that happened that really got us on the right track. After we started discussing this more openly, we decided that this was just not something we wanted to accept. We thought there just got to be a way to handle these kind of things. In my experience, I'm an engineer. I have started several companies. I'm also an inventor. I've got several patents. And my whole life history has been solving problems, figuring out ways to make things work. And we decided this is just another challenge.
Between the people that we've come in contact with and the route that we took maybe isn't exactly the same route that others should or could take, but it was an answer to prayer to be able to find what he needed to start the healing process and get that mind going in the right direction.
You change back and forth. No, you make this commitment and say, I'm going to fight this thing, I'm going to beat it. And then all of a sudden you get these weak points that kind of slip in and just slip into your life. And it's easy for somebody else to say, hey, you can beat this. But for someone with ALS to continually believe that, the doubts come in and the frustrations come in and the anger comes in. And these different things, you fight them, but you have to figure out a way to control them.
I talked to Dr. Nielsen even before we went down to meet him, and he suggested that we needed to get him off of gluten. And he suggested 5 grains. He said, corn doesn't have gluten in it, but corn is highly inflammatory, and 80% of the corn grown in this country is genetically modified. So there you have Roundup in your corn. That's really delicious. You don't taste it, but it's certainly not good for you. So we started, and it didn't come all at once. Kim was used to his breads. I found a mix called Pamela's gluten-free, so I could make him biscuits and different stuff, and it was gluten-free.
Never often enough.
Never often enough, but still, as he had this fungus issue, fungus is made by yeast, and you put yeast in breads, and when you make bread, you add sugar to make the yeast grow. So every time we eat breads and add all our jams or honeys or whatever to it, you're creating more fungus. And I think that was a big part of his lung issue. Besides the fact that it was filling with fluid, he had this lung issue. So it's taken us, a year or two to really learn to get off most of the grains. Getting Dr. Perlmutter's Grain Brain book was big.
Those that keep coming back, those that keep fighting, those that keep working, they're making progress. Not all are necessarily winning, but all are improving their lives. They're improving their lives just through their attitude, through their concept, through their appreciation of friends, family, and loved ones, and caregivers. And we wouldn't have had these experiences. And I'm not sure what lies ahead of us down this road, but it's exciting. It's exciting to look forward, not just to improve my golf game, but to improve relationships. And I hope to see the day when ALS is not a death sentence to anyone, let alone just those whose neurologists don't have the foresight to understand beyond the end of the nose. Now, I think that they will come. And I think the possibility of it coming through natural means, through natural treatments and alternative therapies, I think a lot of those things are here, and it's for us to learn them, and it's for us to study them. And that's part of the blessing for ALS in our life.